All right, inventory's up, but quality's down. What am I talking about? I'm talking about them houses out there. That's right. Just because there's a lot more houses to choose doesn't mean you have a better quantity of quality to choose from. I'm going to get to that tonight. Also, I'm going to talk something about sellers, okay? Hostile sellers to specifically, okay? And why it's important that you have a good real estate agent if you're buying when you're dealing with a hostile seller. Hey, let's get to what this show's all about first, and this is Bubba Watch, and this is all about the market update here in Northeast Florida, the Jacksonville metro area. That's right, I'm just a regular guy who happens to be a real estate agent up here in North Florida, and every week I bring you this show to show you the real numbers in real estate. I'm going to take you into the back of my MLS, and we're going to look at this. We're going to take a look at those active listings, and that is your inventory. And then we're going to look and see how many are active under contract, how many went pending in the last 7 days, how many sold in the last 7 days, and we're also going to take a look at that new home data to see how many sold in the last 7 days and also what their inventory is, and a whole lot more. Folks, you need to buckle up because this is going to be information overload. That's right. I take all that information, I export it out of my MLS, and it goes into an Excel spreadsheet. Looks something like this, which is, kind of hard to look at, okay, without sorting things out. I clean it up and put it into my own Excel spreadsheet like this, which makes it easier to look at the current weeks, but also the previous year and also the previous weeks. And we can see, and I also divide up, I pull out the condo data too to show you that. All these numbers are, and also something else really important, I also go over the median sales price and the median sold price per square foot, and I do it on a weekly basis. The only place I know that does that. Everybody else does monthly, and then you got to wait 2 weeks after the month ends to get your data. I show it to you every week, and then if you want to make it into a monthly, you can. Just look at the rest of the numbers, okay, from the previous weeks. All right, while all that data is calculating out, let's see what those interest rates did this last week. All right, here we're going to take a look at the rates, and we start off here with the conventional mortgage 30 years. Now, all these charts, I've got 3 of them to look at. We always start at the bottom right here. This is where we left off last week. On this one, we left off at 6.79%. In the middle here shows the arrows of whether they went up and down during the week. And up the top is where we ended up. So here we are at 6.78. So we are pretty close to just about the same. We did have a little dip, but then we had some increases that brought it back up. Now those FHA rates are generally a little bit less, so you see here where we ended up at 6.19 last week and ended up a little bit to 6.22. VA rates generally follow along with those FHA. We were at 6.22 last week and ended up at 6.24 this week. So we did have a slight increase in the VA also. All right, well those rates, they're still in the 6s there, high up there in the 6s, but they're not in the 7s right now. So that is a plus, but they really ain't going where everyone wants them to go. Most people would like to see something in the 5s. I know some of you are thinking 3s, but forget that. That probably ain't happening again in our lifetime. But if they do get in the 5s, then we'll start to see a little more activity probably. Will that cause prices to go up? But prices are already going up still. I've seen national headlines about this, and I've been talking about it in this show, for years already, okay? All right, so right now, let's get to those Excel spreadsheets. Okay, now we're into the back end of my Excel spreadsheets where I take all that data and more and put it here, so we're going to get a lot of information out of this. This yellow column right here is our current week. The white column next to it is last year at this time so that you can compare year over year, and that YOY right there is the percentage in difference. The blue over here is the single family homes where I pull those numbers out of everything and just show them by themselves since that is the largest group. All right, these other yellow columns and other blues are the previous weeks here that we see the previous 2 weeks. So let's start off, and then of course this column right here shows you what these rows are: active, sold, under contract, and so forth. So let's start off here at the top, and this is our active listings. This is our inventory. 10,210. So it is still rising. It's still going up. But, the quality's not there. We're going to talk about that here later. Okay, sold 434. A drop, okay, drop from the last couple weeks. Wow, okay, really started coming down. All right, but those active under contracts, 1,389, that is up, and those are ones that have contingencies. Those are people that went under contract and they got a contingency for financing, appraisals, inspections, maybe they have to sell a house, anything. It has a contingency. When the contingencies are cleared, they get status to pending, okay? So pending, we had 417, okay? Increased from last week, but down from a couple weeks ago. Total under contract, though, brings us to 1,806 when you add them all up, and that is up over the last couple weeks here. Withdraws, 64, okay? These are people that the homes are still active listings, they just can't be shown. Sometimes people are sick, sometimes they're working, sometimes they're doing repairs, all kinds of things. Expired, okay, 119, okay, a lot less than last week, okay. New homes sold, this is a disaster, 57, holy crap, I wasn't expecting that much of a drop. All right, new homes inventory is 2,330, and the orange here is where I look at the percentage of homes sold that are new construction homes, and I'm really surprised at this. 13%, it's so low, especially the problems people have with getting insurance and the cost of insurance with the used homes, but it didn't seem to matter this week. All right, now over here in the blue column, the single family homes, you can just see all that data right there. I'm not going to go over it individually, so if you wanted to pause it. Now, this spreadsheet, for those of you that are new to the show, goes all the way back to when I first started this show in 2022, and this spreadsheet is available for download. There'll be a link to it in the description of this video. How did people pay for these homes? Well, we look at cash, 28.57. So cash was always like around a fourth or a little under a fourth, but now it's above a fourth of the homes. Okay, conventional came in at just over 42 this week. FHA and VA rounding off at around 13. Others jumped a little bit, 2.53. And those numbers that you see below, those are the actual units that fit into those categories. So, for instance, 124 out of the 434 sold were cash deals. Okay, we take a look at those foreclosure numbers, and these are the foreclosures that are active listings. These aren't the total foreclosures in the Jacksonville Metro. Okay, these are active listings that are put into the MLS for sale. 72 foreclosures, 18 pre-foreclosures, 44 short sales for a total of 134, a dramatic drop. All right, this is where I look at the percentage of homes that sold under list, at list, and above list. Okay, still up there in the 70s, 73% sold under list price, 18.66 sold at list, 8.29 sold above list, okay? And then you've got the numbers below showing the units sold. Like I say, the first one there is 317 of those homes out of 434 sold or sold under list price. Next, I look at the price categories in the 500s, 400s, 300s, 200s, and below 200. And we can see we had a dramatic drop this week of those that sold 500,000 and above. Just under 24%. Homes that sold in the 400 range, almost 12.5. Homes that sold in the 300, okay, almost 23%. Homes in the 200s, okay, came in at 28.34. So that is our winner, the ones in the 200s. And homes that sold below 200, over 12.5. Now, those ones in the 200s are gaining popularity because that's what people can afford, okay? So you're seeing, I've seen new townhomes. There's definitely a bunch of new townhomes that fall into that price category. So maybe people are opting more for those too. Also manufactured homes, and the units are down below. Next, I take a look at the new homes sold under the same type of list. Above list, below list, and at list. Okay, we can see that 63.16 sold under list, 19.3 sold above list, and sold at list, and then above list, over 17.5. I'm still surprised at those numbers. But our total sold 57, and there you see the units below. Okay, this is where I look at those median prices. Okay, the median price sold of the homes, townhomes, and condos, and then also the median price per square foot, and this is on a weekly basis. And again, if you want to make it your own monthly basis, just download the spreadsheet and you can do that. So as we take a look here, single family homes came in at a median price of $360,000 this week at $204 a square foot. Townhomes $265,000. So you see those townhomes are, like I said, they're in the 200 range there at $179 a square foot. Condos $215,000 at $180 a square foot. And then the previous weeks before that. And we can move it over like one more there so we can fit another week in there for you. Okay, what I do here is take a look at, you can see the top columns there, the original list price. Okay, list price is what they lowered it to, and then the close price is what they sold it for. And then over here, diff is for your difference. So you see the first one, there was a difference. It was $224,750 that sold, that much that sold below list, okay? And it was a cash buyer. We show the financing and the days on the market. Look at that, 238 days on the market. So what I'm going to do is scroll this down, because this is going to be everything, and you can pause it as you want, the video, or you can download it. And we're going to go all the way. Now, you're seeing right there the column difference. That's how much below list price. Now, I go by the original list price, okay? The closed price and the original list price. That's where that difference is, okay? Now, when we start getting into the zeros here, okay, that is the ones that sold at list price, and then the ones down below the zeros are the ones that sold above list price. And as you can see, there's quite a few of them that are like the 10,000 and below, and that could very well be where they wanted concessions. Okay, as we look at this map right here, what I do is I look at a zip code every week, and if I pick one, or somebody will put it in the comments, or they'll actually text me even the zip codes, okay? This one here was texted to me, okay? 32277 zip code. So what you're looking at here is a map of the ones that are for sale. You see all those dots right there around Jacksonville? Those are the ones that are active listings, okay? That is your inventory in that zip code. This next picture here are the ones that sold in the past 7 days. Now I put that into the Excel spreadsheet so that we can see right here, you know, as you can see what type of home it was, single family or a townhome, the original list price, the list price, closed price, the difference, sold price per square foot, days on the market, the lot size if the agent put it in. These were all in Jacksonville, Duval County. You can see the zip code. Living area is your square footage of that house, the year it was built. Bedrooms total, bathrooms total, and then the bathrooms, full baths and half baths. I show that, and that NE. Yeah, well, the W fell below, but those were whether they were new, and there was one new one there. Okay, where the Y is. Okay, single family residence. Okay, that was second from the bottom. Now, just in case you're one of these people that wants to buy a home in that zip code, these are the homes that are for sale. Okay. And if you would like more information or would like to actually go see one of these homes and schedule a showing, then just give us a call at the phone number that you see up there at the top. So I'm just scrolling down this real slow, and you can pause that as you'd like. Okay, real quickly now, I'm going to go through the condominiums. Like I said, there is a condo crisis in Florida. We just haven't seen a big one up here in North Florida, but I show the numbers, and last week we started season 2. And this follows the same format now as the others, okay? So here we are, season 2, week 2, all right, in the yellow here. Last week's is the other yellow, and then the previous. And because we've started our second season, now I do have last year's in the column right next to it, and YOY, the percentage of difference. So you can see those numbers right there. How did people pay for those condos? You can see those numbers there. Cash is always the top one, and that is because the finance companies do condos differently than regular homes. They actually look at the other residents in the complex to see if anyone's behind in either taxes or fees or assessments. And if they are, then they will not finance. No matter, you could be a 700 or 800 credit score, but if you happen to be in a condominium where a lot of people have fallen behind on their fees or something, then you may not get financing yourself. And there's a lot more of that now because of these increases in these fees. We look at the foreclosure numbers for the condominiums too, and it dropped a couple this week. I also take a look and see what sold under list, at list, and above list, and there was just 34 condos that sold, this last week, so we don't have a lot to go by. And you see the numbers there below. 31 of them were under list price, so that's why you have such a high number there, over 91%. I also look in the price categories for the condominiums also, and you can see there 500s, the 400s, 300s, 200s, and below 200. And the big winner here are the ones below 200, okay? So that's telling me that we are starting to see probably some price drops of those that were in the 200 range. And then you see the units below. Okay, nothing new in the new this week. Okay, because the new law that went into effect this year states that condominiums 3 stories and above, now that's the complex, not the actual unit, 3 stories and above, and also 30 years or older, unless you're on the coast, and then they can make it 25 years or older, have these new requirements where they have to fund for, repairs and things like that. They have to have that money set aside, and that's what increased the fees. So we show here how many were at the single story, second story, third story, and so on. I was just looking to see if there's any kind of trend where people started gravitating towards those first and second stories. That's all this chart's for. And because of the year, we look at the age of them too. These are individual units. So the first one there was built in 2008. It was a 1-story. The second one was 1996. It was a 1-story, and so on. And I'll scroll this down for you, and you can pause that as you'd like. These are the counties where those condominiums were sold. You can see Duval County had the greatest amount with 23 of them out of those 34 sold. Okay, here I also do the same chart showing the original list price and closed price and the difference, and showed how they financed it and the days on the market. And I'll scroll this for you also. All right, if you like the way I put this show together and show you these numbers and create all this data for you to look at, give me a thumbs up. And if you want to be part of this Bubble Watch show and be part of Bubble Watch Nation, then just subscribe to the channel. All right, next thing I'm going to do is look at what is called MLS Advantage. Now, up here in the Northeast Florida, this Jacksonville metro area is really like 9 counties, okay, as you see on this map right here. Now, what I do is, the data I just showed you is all from the Northeast Florida MLS. That's the one I belong to, and that's the largest one up here that has the most data. But there are smaller MLS boards, and I take their sold data and I put it all together, and it's what is called an MLS Advantage that gives you that. I also break it down by county so you can see which counties has the most activity. All right, so right now let's go to MLS Advantage. All right, here we are into MLS Advantage. This is the back end of my MLS, and we are going to look at those 9 counties right here: Baker, Union, Bradford, Clay, Nassau, Duval, St. Johns, Flagler, and Putnam. Over here, I just click that search button, and it comes up with 587 property. All right, when we take that 587 and break it down by counties, this is what we come up with. So this week here, we see Baker dropped to 2, Union had zip, Bradford dropped to 5 this week, Clay County, man, only had 52 sold, Nassau County 40, Duval County, up there strong, 265, but still a drop. St. Johns County, a pretty good drop to 121. A lot of new homes in St. Johns County. Okay, Flagler, 82. That was a pretty good drop, and that's over there at your Palm Coast area. Putnam County actually had an increase this week, and there's our total, 587. I am a licensed realtor here in the state of Florida, and I work with a select team of realtors that work with me up here, helping people buy and sell homes up here in this Jacksonville metro area. And if you're looking to buy or sell, then give us a call and see if we can help you. And just put us in the mix if you're interviewing other realtors and see what we have to offer. All right, now let's get to what I was talking about in the beginning. Inventory up, quality down. That's right. This is coming from me showing some homes here since the beginning of the year. And I'm telling you, I've got more numbers, but it seems like when I'm taking people to look at houses, we can't find nothing. And why is that? Because a lot of people are looking for something that's turnkey where they can move right in. Well, hold on. We got somebody that's got to show off their loud exhaust in a non-performance vehicle. All right. So, but anyhow, what I'm looking at is these homes that just need work. And I'm not talking about a $200,000 home. 300, 400, 500,000, and they're fixer-uppers. In fact, take a look at this example right here. All right, here, this is almost reminiscent of when I did my houses of the week. I'm showing you an example here. This house here, built in 2006, okay, 2883 square feet, okay. It's in Duval County. Now, it's a 4-bedroom, 3-bath, with 2 full, 1 half, okay. Now, the price of this home is $379,900, okay? So, approaching $400,000, okay? So, let's take a look and I pulled this out of the description and narrative and some remarks that you wouldn't see. This was from the MLS, okay? All this home needs are some TLC. Well, I would say is, and some, instead of are, some TLC. Private remarks, home is sold as is, motivated seller, okay? All right, when I see as is, TLC and all that, same thing as most buyers. Like, okay, this is what you got. Even though people still put in a repair request when it's as is, but a lot of times they get turned down, but it depends on what it is. But still, the TLC part tells me something. I'll show you something else that tells me something about this house. This here is in the MLS under a tab called Documents, okay? As you can see, the only documents for this particular listing is offer instructions, how to submit an offer. What is missing is a seller's property disclosure. Okay, now, in Florida, you don't have to have a seller's property disclosure. And people get confused with the difference between that and disclosing things that are bad about the house. In Florida, it is required, the law, that a seller must disclose things about the house that can affect the value if it can't be seen, okay, when you're walking through the house or, around the outside. If they know of something that could, cause detrimental devaluation of the house, not know it. But you don't actually have to have a form, seller property disclosure. Now, some brokerages require it and some don't. But in this case, it's not there. And what does that tell you? Well, that tells you how old the roof is, the air conditioning, any plumbing problems, any past leaks and stuff like this. Things about the house, okay? This doesn't have that. So we don't know how old the roof is and all this until you go into there. But when it's a TLC, as is, I'm suspicious about that. So this is what I'm talking about. Almost $400,000 for a fixer-upper, basically. All right, something else I want to talk about. Hostile sellers, that's right. Let me give you an example of a hostile seller, okay? That is a seller who, what they did was, we were looking at these, I was showing some people these houses. Now in the house, it's around $400,000, right? Been on the market for probably like 3 or 4 months, went through 6 open houses, no buyers, no nothing. We give them an offer that's just like, $12,000 below their asking price, and they were pissed off because at first they said they were going to do like $9,000 below, but my buyer said, well, they wanted to go an extra $3,000 for some concessions. They got pissed, no deal, nothing. You know what? Now they're sitting on it. Maybe they don't need to sell it, but I'm telling you something. Now, would I show that house again to somebody? I sure would, okay, if I can make a deal. But I will tell the buyer, if the buyer's my customer, that it is a hostile seller, that situation to be aware of. Now, when you have a hostile seller and you don't have a real estate agent that really knows that contract, believe me, those hostile sellers are going to take advantage of that contract, and you may lose your deposit. Even though your real estate agent saying everything's fine, there's a lot of things that aren't fine. Unless you know the contract, you're going to be setting up. So if you're a seller, why be hostile, okay? The market is driven by the buyers. If the buyer doesn't want to pay what you're asking, then it isn't going to sell. That's it. And if you think it's worth more, then all right, whatever. But, the buyer drives the market. That's it. Hey, you know what? This right now is, okay, this is week 44, and it is in the can. And until next week, I'm out of here.